Good morning, everyone. In the last session, we discussed about the constructor related stuff here. Now, we'll identify the methods which are available under this particular string class here. Okay. Now, if you observe the method, how these are the methods are implemented internally. Now, we need to understand one by one. The first method we'll discuss about the length method. First method, we'll discuss about the length method, how this length is going to be implemented internally here. So to understand this particular length method, what exactly the length will do. So length method, basically it will try to find out how many characters are inserted into this particular string here. How many characters are inserted into this particular string. Now if you see here, string demo. So we given this is a string as a parameter, string demo. Now what we are doing here, we are trying to print this. Now where we are trying to print here, here again I'm trying to append with a concat here. Now before trying to concat this, now I'm going to call the s dot length method. So this is very important here. Now length is a method here. Now same thing if you see ch dot length. Okay, ch dot length. Now observe carefully here. Observe carefully here what you need to understand here. Ch dot length here. Ch dot length. Now, if you understand s dot length is a method, ch dot length is a variable. Basically here this length is now playing as a variable role. This length now playing as a method role here. Okay. Now if I call this method, it is trying to return as a value dot length. Value dot length and greater than here. So whatever the value dot length we are going to get, now it will try to return this particular length method. But directly, whenever we are trying to work with the arrays concept here, what we are doing is we are trying to call the length variable. So this length variable also will return the same information. Same information is nothing but, so it will try to return the how many characters are stored under this particular length variable here. Okay, so this is we need to understand very clearly here. Now observe carefully. Now observe carefully here system.out.println. Now here I'm trying to call this particular length here. Now here if you try to print this, because length method it is trying to return as a integer. So integer, why it is returning? Because it is trying to return the number of characters are stored under this particular string here, given string. Now you can see two lengths I'm trying to call here. One is a method, one is a variable. The one method which is coming from the string class, the variable stuff which is coming from the arrays related concept here. Okay, now here you can see it is trying to return 11 and the 7 it is returning. So why it is returning 7? Here you need to understand this. So if I count this all the characters, now it will become 7. Now if we count this particular all the characters with the spaces also, now it will become 11. Now to understand in the debug mode, so let me run this method. Okay, so ch. Now here you can see what happening here, 0 to 6, because indexes will start from the 0. 0 to 6 is nothing but what is the size we can identify? 7. So size will start from the 1, index will start from 0. Getting the point? Size will start from 1, index will start from 0. Because of this, the index is started 0, it is ended with the 6. So now indexes are up to 6. But what about the size? Size you can include plus 1 here. Why we need to include? Because size is going to start with 1 here. So this is what we need to understand here. Now we identified. Now what about this particular length method? Now if you understand this particular length method, now here you can see, so this length method you can evaluate like this. Now what is the value we are getting? 11. Okay, so this is the 11 value we are getting here. So this is important here, because whenever we want to check the given string is empty or not empty, how we are going to check it? Using this particular length method. If it is returning 0, so we can treat as this particular given string is empty. If it is not returning 0, so that we can identify this string contains some values. This string contains some value. So this is the main purpose of this particular string length method. Now if you see here, At last, now what I will do, string str is equals to, I'm not providing any value. Okay, str dot length I'm calling. str dot length I'm calling. Now, this is the empty string basically. This is the empty string. Now, this type of object we'll discuss later. Basically, we'll call it as a, so this type of object, it is a string literal concept we are going to call here. So now, whatever we created as of now, this is a, we using new object creation, and this particular concept using string literal concept. So we'll see the differences between these two, what exactly it is going to provide. Okay. Now, this is what we need to understand here. Now, observe carefully, the string literal concept will identify later. But now, what you need to understand here, what exactly this length will return here. What exactly this particular length method will try to return this particular value here. Okay. Now here, if you see, str is empty. Whenever the str is empty, now, if you try to evaluate is nothing but, so dynamically we are calling this particular length method. Now you can see result is returning 0. Now what you understanding it? If you don't have a character under this particular string, now it will try to return as a 0. It will try to return as a 0. So this is what we need to understand here. This is what we need to understand here. Now, if any character is available, it will try to return greater than 0. If no characters are available, it will come up with a 0 value. This is all about the length method. Now, length method basically, it will try to find out the given characters, like how many characters are available under this particular string here. So this is what we need to understand here. Now, another important method, basically, before we discuss about the another method, now we need to understand the string literal concept. Now what exactly the string literal concept it will do? Basically, without creating this new object, without using this particular new keyword, now we can create a string object here. If we observe here, the line number 21st, what I'm doing basically, using the new operator I'm trying to create. Now, using this particular new operator, we can create an object here along with the string literal concept also. Now we are able to create a string object here. Okay, so this is what we need to understand. Basically, what exactly it will do? The using this new operator, explicitly we are trying to create. Explicitly, we are trying to create a instance of this particular string here. Okay, now using this particular literal concept here, now what we are doing it, so using this particular string concept, literal concept also, we can create an object here. But here, the differences between, if you see, str and s4. Now, whenever I'm trying to print this str and s4, what exactly it will do? Okay, now, so I'm trying to call the length method, str I'm trying to print. Now, here you can see empty is printing. Now, what about this ABCD? Okay, underscore, ABCD X underscore, because here we are providing this particular values here. But now, what I'm trying to explain here, I want to show you the reference value, like where this exactly objects are going to be created. This literal concept basically, this string literal concept basically, it is going to create a object under the string pool. Okay, so this concept is going to create under the heap memory, because here we are using new operator. But here there is no concept to call new operator. These objects are going to be stored under this particular string pool. So string pool is nothing but, so under this heap memory, for example, this is a heap memory. Under this particular heap memory, we'll try to follow the some string related pool here. So this is you can identify as a string pool here. Now what exactly this string pool will do? Whenever we are trying to create a using with this particular concept called literal concept here, now it will create an object under this particular string pool. Now what is the advantage we are going to get? Whenever you are trying to recreating an object, the same object if you are trying to recreate here, it will not create the same object. Okay, it will not recreate the same object here. Whatever the existing object we have, the same existing object is going to be referenced here. Okay, this is what we need to understand here. Now observe here how this literal concept is going to be implemented here. To understand this, now here test I'm trying to create. This is also I'm trying to create a test here. This is also I'm trying to create a test here. Okay, so these are the three objects. These are the three objects we created here. First one is string literal, second one also string literal, and third one we come up with a new string object creation. Okay, new string object creation. So how we are going to call this thing? But here now what I'm trying to explain here, toString here. So where is the toString method? Okay, now if you see here, it is trying to return as a current object. This particular string class basically what exactly it is doing here, whenever you are trying to print the reference variable, internally it will try to print as a current object here. Internally it will try to print as a current object here. But what we can identify basically here, what we need to understand basically, here you need to understand the how this particular reference information is going to be printed here. But in the string class, now we cannot extend this particular string class because string is already final class. Now how we are going to override the toString method here? So there is no concept to call overriding here, because so if I want to override, first we need to extend this particular class. Then only this particular string we can override here. But currently what I'm saying, this two section code, these two sections are going to be used in the string pool, and inside the string pool only one object we are going to use, and only one object we are going to use. The remaining one, it is reflected to the automatically to the another object. What about this particular section? This new object, it is going to create under the heap memory, not in the string pool. This is what we need to understand. Now after this, now if you see, after printing this particular str1, this is section of code not needed. But now what I am doing is str dot so new test, str dot new test. Now what exactly this method will do? And str is equals to new test. Okay, now if you see, this is what I am trying to do. First I will print str, second one str1 I am trying to print here, str2. Okay, these are the three objects I am trying to print here. Now so here I will put a breakpoint line number 23. Now we'll run in the debug mode so that we'll understand here how this particular literal concepts are going to be used here. Now you see, first object, second object. Now with a new keyword we created one more object. But if you see str, what is referring still? Still it is referring test. So why it is referring? Because what I suggested, even though you're trying to create with string literal or new object, string is a immutable object. Immutable is nothing but once a object is created, we are not going to be modified. So if we want to get the latest changes, whatever you did, now what we can do basically, we need to assign into the another variable. We need to assign into the another variable. For example, if I'm doing the evaluation, it is trying to returning test new test also. Test new test. But this information, it should be stored in the another variable. It should be stored in the another variable. Then only the latest changes we are going to get it. Otherwise, we will not get the latest changes here. We will not get the latest changes. So this is what we need to understand here. Now another important section here. Now what I'm doing here, str is equals to str plus new test. Now here we'll get the latest changes. So here you can see str, comma, str is equal to test space and new test here. Getting the point? This is we are getting. After this, now I'm trying to print str1. Now str1, even though we are updating str, but it is not reflecting into the str1. It is not reflecting into the str1. Now here you can see str2, it is trying to print this particular section of code. So these are the three sections here. The first one basically along with str, now I am using concatenation. Concatenation is nothing but we are trying to add two strings here. We are trying to add two string informations here. Okay. So after this, what I'm doing is this is I'm calling test, and so the str1 as it is returning even though we are modifying here str. Okay. So now second one is object creation. Once object is created, still we are referring to the same object, but the paths are different here. The last object is it's going to store in the heap memory. The str1, str and str1, those are going to be stored under the string pool. Okay, so this is what we need to understand regarding this particular string literal concept here. So any questions? The length method as well as string literal concept here. Okay, now if you don't have anything, so now what I'm doing here, string concatenation. Okay, string concatenation. So here we are identifying here this thing, this particular string is a whatever the double colon test we created. This is a string here. Now here str plus new test. So this is also new string. Now what I'm doing here, so both string I'm doing here concatenation, like I'm trying to add one string with the end of the another string here. But here what you need to understand here, how we can use this particular, how we can use another data type here. Basically here I'm doing the str is also string and this particular right side code also string here. But I want to find out the how we can come up with another data type here. How we can come up with another data type here. Another data type is nothing but other than the string here. Now let me go for the another example. String demo 2. Okay, so here now what I'm trying to explain here, first string age is equals to something like 9 here. First we'll identify with the string and later we can go for the another data type here. String s is equals to, now what I'm doing here is something like whatever the age we are having and okay, so this is all about the important section. Now if you print this, these two strings are going to be come up with as a one string. Now here you can see he is 9 years old. Okay, the 9 we given as a string here. Now using this particular plus plus finger, wherever it is required, we are adding. So something like a concatenation we'll call it here. Now if we observe, in place of this particular string, I'm going to use int here. I'm going to use int here. Okay, now here you can see, even though we are trying to use int, now finally what happening is, now we are able to convert the whole expression as a string here. Now between we are using the integer data type here, but even though you are using this particular integer data type here, but the entire expression, okay, the entire this particular string, it is finally converting as a this particular string message. Now we are able to print this particular string message here. We are able to print this particular string message. Now you can see he is 9 years old here. Okay, now here what we are doing here, we are trying to come up with another data type here. Not only the string, now we can go for the another data type also. Now if you want to understand, if you change to the double also. Okay, double, it will store as a .0 values. Now because of this, I'm trying to print this one. Now you can see he is 9.0 years old. Okay, just for example, I'm providing not only the integer, we can use this particular string related also. So this is what we need to understand regarding this particular concatenation. Now after concatenation, so this is important. Now let me show you one more example here. Now this example basically string s1 is equals to 4. But if you see what you are expecting on this particular section of code here. Now if I'm going to print this, okay, if I'm going to print this, now what you are expecting, what is the value I'm going to get? Any idea? The line number 9, I'm trying to use 4:2 plus 2. So it will given like the 4 colon, it will give as a 22, or it is going to give as a 4 here. So what you are trying to think here? Okay, what is your output on this? So can you think and let me know? Okay. Now observe carefully what I am trying to explain. Whenever we are trying to use string with additional data type, it will not do the calculation. It will not do the addition here. Just it will append end of the two number. It is going to append with another number here. Now you can see. Now if you see, so 4 here we are getting as a 22 here. But what we are expecting here, it should do the addition calculation here. But here it is not doing the addition calculation. It is appending, like it is adding the 22 values. So it is not going to do the addition calculation. So if I want to do the addition calculation, what we can do here, you need to come up with a bracket here. You need to come up with a bracket. Now if you see here, I'm opening the bracket. Now here I'm trying to close the bracket. Now current output here 4:22 we are getting. But now if I'm going to run the same example now, now here you can see 4:4 we are getting. Now how we are getting? Because first it will do the operation. So within this particular bracket, whatever we provided, now it is going to do the first calculation. Okay. Now once it is completed, once this particular calculation is completed, now what it will do? It will append with the given string. It append with the given string. So this is what we need to understand whenever we are trying to concat with another data type here. So sometimes we are not going to get the expected results. Now, whenever you are not getting an expected result, you need to provide the whatever the result you are expecting inside this particular brackets here. Okay. So this parentheses are going to be taken care first execution, and later it will append with the string. This is what we need to understand the concatenation. So we'll go for the one method we are having concat. Now we'll discuss later how the concat method is going to be implemented internally. Okay. Now, so now here what you need to understand here, conversion section here. So conversion is nothing but we are having under the string class value of method. Under the string class we are having value of method. We'll see how these values of methods are going to be implemented. Now you can see this is a string dot value of method. So you can see value of method is basically it is a overloaded method. Overloaded method is nothing but name of the method is same, but only parameters are different here. Name of the method is same, but only parameters are different here. So this is what we need to understand here. This is what we need to understand. Now, if you observe carefully, what we are doing basically, if you want to convert string like integer into string, or if you want to convert character into string. Now, if you want to convert long, float, double, boolean, object, or you can go for the character array, or you can go for the character array along with the conditions, like which number, like from the which index onwards we want to copy, and how many characters we want to copy. So those information we can provide using this particular last method here. Okay. Now we'll see how this conversion is going to happen. I'm going to call integer related, something like 45, something like 45 here. Now this will return the string here. Now this S2 we need to print now here. This S2 we need to print here. Now how this particular S2 is going to be printed here. So now if you understand here, it is converted. Now the 45 is going to print as a string value. It is not going to print as an integer. So this is the integer we are passing. Okay, this is the integer we are passing. Now this particular message, the particular 45 value, internally it is converted into the string data type. Now how it is going to print? If you are trying to print, basically it will print like this. Okay, within the double quotes it is going to print, but here the output section it is not going to show this particular double quotes here, but internally it will try to convert whatever the original 45 we given. Now it will convert into this particular section of code here. It is converted into this particular section of code. So this is what we need to understand here. Okay. Now after this, if I go for the another data type. So for example, string dot value of double data type. So this is a double data type I've given. Now whenever I'm trying to give this particular double data type here, now here S3. Now here what you need to understand here, 63.123. 63.123 we are getting here. Getting the point? So this is all about the another important section here. Double value, this is the 63.123. Now using this particular string dot value of, we converted into string data type here. So what you need to understand, value of method, getting the point? Value of is a method. It will try to convert the specific data type into integer data, string data type here. Okay, what is the specific data type here? Here you can come up with integer, character, boolean, float, double. Okay, based on our requirement, whatever you are interested, you can provide here. Now another important section here, values of method. It is a static method. Values of method, it is a static method. Now without creating an object, what we are doing is we are calling this particular value of method. Now if you see here, whenever I'm trying to show you this value of, you can see public static string, it is trying to return as a string, and value of. But internally, if you see, what is trying to return? Double dot toString. Double dot toString. Under the double class, this is the toString they implemented. Now this is the toString is going to call to return the string value. Here you can see where it is trying to return the string value. Name of the method is string. Now if you go for the same for the integer related, this is a float, long, integer. Now here you can see integer dot toString. Integer dot toString. Now whatever the method we are calling, value of method, internally what exactly it is doing it? It is calling this particular return integer dot toString. Finally what we are doing it? We are passing this particular integer value, and the toString we already implemented under this particular which class? Here we are having the class called integer. From the integer class it is going to return here. From the integer it will try to return here. So this is all about the important section here. Okay, now go back to here the string demo 2. Now after the value of, so value of you can try with a different data type here. Now after this particular value of, so we discuss about the toString here. So toString basically it will come from the object class. Now if we want to provide the specific implementation, now what we will do, we'll try to override this particular toString method so that the current class toString is going to call. Now if you understand little bit more about this particular toString here, first string class. Now here you can print this. Okay, so this is the toString. Now currently return this is nothing but it will try to return the current class object from which object reference we are going to call. toString directly we cannot call because it is a once object is created then only we are going to call this particular toString here. If the object is not created, we are not going to call this particular toString method because it is not a static behavior method. Okay, now this string class, now if you understand here, which is implementing these are the interfaces, but it is not extending any class. If this class is not extending, what we can identify? This class by default it is going to extend from the object class. If the class is by default extending from the object class, inside the object class also we are having toString method. Now if you see, this is a object class. Okay, now here we are having toString here. Now you can see this is also one toString we are having. What exactly it is doing is get class dot get name, and it is trying to print @ along with the hash code. Along with the hash code it is trying to return. But now if any object it is not going to override, so by default this is the toString is going to print. By default this is the toString is going to print. Now if any class it is going to override the toString, the specific class toString is going to print. In the current example, this return this something. Now here you can see this is the string class is overriding this toString method here. Because of this, now we are not able to call this particular toString here. Okay, this is one of the important concept called method overriding here. Okay, every time the method is going to take care of subclass, not the superclass method here. So here what is a subclass? String is a subclass because string internally it is extending from the object class. Okay, this is what we need to understand regarding this particular toString here. Now if you want to override from this particular string class, but there is no concept to call extending this particular string class. Now I created string test. Now I'm trying to extend from this particular string class. Now if you see, what is saying this? Cannot inherit from final class. What is a final class? String is a final class. Now we cannot extend this particular class. So why we cannot extend? Because of the final behavior. So class level final keyword, what exactly it will do? It will try to, okay, it will try to give the restrictions here. Whenever we are trying to extend into subclasses, it will give the restrictions here. So this is all about the final keyword at class level here. Because of this, now we are unable to override the toString method. But what we can identify here, the string class or toString method, it will try to call automatically whenever we are trying to print the object reference. But internally, what is returning? It is trying to return the current class. Current class basically object, whatever the message we are having, it will try to print here. So this is what we need to understand regarding this particular toString here. So toString as well as conversion from one data type into another data type. Value of method we identify. Any questions? Any questions regarding these two concepts here, conversion as well as toString? Okay. So now, so after completion of this particular conversion into toString here, now what exactly we are going to have another method. The another method basically caret method. So caret method basically what it will return here. Now if you understand here, S3 dot caret method. Now you can see this is the first method, caret. Now what exactly this particular caret method will do? He is expecting the integer. Integer, if you see the name of the parameter itself is providing index. Name of the parameter itself is providing the index. So index is nothing but, for example, we are having these are the characters. Okay, these are the characters. These characters are going to store like this. These are the characters are going to be stored like this. Now whenever it is going to store like this, now here internally again it will have the indexes here. Indexes here. Now whenever we are having this particular indexes here, now what we can identify, if I want to find out this particular character only, okay, if I want to find out this particular character, or if I want to find out this particular character, okay, this particular character is nothing but, for example, Y, E, here I am going to have A, R, S, and here this is a space and it will start with the O. Now observe, I want to find out the S, I want to find out the E. How we are going to find out here? Using this particular index here. You are going to provide the index so that in this particular index here, whatever this particular character is available, it will try to return here. Now, so to load this particular specific character, now what we are doing is, we are calling the method call. This is the method, caret method. Now caret, what it will do? It will take the parameter of index. Now it will try to return the which character is available under this particular number here. For example, if I give 4, okay, if I give 4 here, now we'll see what it will do here. Now directly I'm trying to print this, because this caret method internally it will try to return as a, what is the return type of this particular caret method? Now here you can see, so the caret method, it is trying to return the char. Okay, caret method internally it is trying to return as a char method. So something like first we are not going to return as a string, just we are trying to return as a just a character here. Now I will save this, how it is going to be written here. Now if you see here, what you need to understand here, what is the value it is returning caret here? From where we are trying to print 45. So this S2, it is trying to return as a 45. Now after this, now we are trying to return as a 2. Now how this 2 is coming? To understand this particular 2, you need to write this particular diagram again. Okay, so here I'm trying to store 6, 3, and this is for dot, and this is for 1, and this is for 2, and this is for 3. Type here index values 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as 5. Now what you understand here? Here if you see, I given as a 4 here. I given as a 4. Now whenever I'm giving as a 4, what is the number it is returning? 2. Now why it is returning number 2 is because this particular string internally it is going to store like this. Internally it is going to store like this. Now in this particular array, if I want to find out the given character, or if I want to find out the specific character, what we can do? We need to provide the indexes. Now I did here using the caret method, I provided the index called 4. Now in the fourth indexes, we are having the value called second. The same value here it is printing here. In the console, now we are able to see the particular value it is printing here. So this is all about the important section about the particular given string here. Okay. Now understand here what happens if I'm not giving the proper index. For example, here I'm going to give 10. For example, if I'm trying to give 10, but what is the range we are having currently? Currently we are having 0 to 5. It is nothing but 6 elements we store, or 5 elements only, right? 6, yes. 6 elements we store here with a dot here. Now we inserted 6 elements, but what is the index I'm giving? 10 I'm giving. Now if you see, by default itself is showing an error, method will fail. So why this method will fail? Earlier we could not get this message. Now why we are getting now? Because the 10 we provided, the given index called 10, it is no longer available. Whatever the 10 we are providing here, it is no longer available here. Because of this, now we are getting an error here. So if I am going for the next line, now here you can see java.lang.index out of bound exception, invalid array index. Okay, invalid array index here. This is all about the important section we need to understand here. Now, what exactly this message is saying here? Now, if you go to the console, string index out of bound range here. Now, whatever the range we given, it is outside of the range here. So, this is message saying outside of this particular range here. So, this is all about the caret method. Caret method basically what it will do, based on the position. Position is nothing but whatever the index number we are going to provide. If the specified character is available, it will return. Otherwise, so this type of exception you are going to get here. Okay, this is very important here. Sometime now in the previous example we call the reverse related. So how we call the reverse here? Using the same caret method. Okay, same caret method we called here. Now we provided the position. Now based on the position, whatever we are having the character, it will return into another char and it will append it with the one string here. Now where we discuss here, I think under the lambda section. Somewhere so these are the count matching. Somewhere we discuss in the lambda related sections here. Here you can see I commented the code, but here you can see result plus is equals to n dot caret method. Okay, now what exactly it is doing here? It is trying to append the whatever the character we are loading. So based on the character, now we are adding into this particular result. Like how many times this loop is going to repeat it. So at the same time, each and every character we are loading and we are appending it as a string. And finally, we are printing this particular string here. So this is what we need to understand here. Now, this is all about the string related caret method. Any questions? Any questions regarding this caret method? Okay. Now, if you don't have anything, now back to here, what we are trying to do here, after calling this particular caret, we are having one more method, something like a getChars method. So what exactly the getChars method will do? So to understand this particular getChars here, now what you need to understand here, I'm trying to comment out here. Now using s dot getChars here. Now here, here you can see begin in source begin. Now carefully observe. This is the source begin is expecting, source end, and destination character array, and destination begin. Now what you understand here? How many parameters this getChars method is expecting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 parameters. Now what exactly the each and every parameters are going to be used here? Now if I'm trying to print this, so what is the source begin here? Okay, the source begin, I'm trying to come up with a 0. I want to start with a 0. What about this particular end here? End, I want to call the length here. How many characters we are having? All the characters here. All the characters. Now here you can see char array. So what is exactly this char array saying? Now here I want to create a ch char array, and here s dot length here. Based on this particular length, now I'm trying to create one new char array. Now this is I'm passing, so that it will copy from the string and it will store into this particular char array. Now the destination also I want to give as a 0. So carefully observe how many parameter this method is holding. 4 parameter. Now source begin, I'm starting with 0, and all the characters I want to load, so that I given as a end of the particular index is something like a length. Length will give you the 6, so that 0 to 6 it is going to be copy here. Now this is the from which char array we want to copy. Now I am giving this particular ch, so that all the elements are going to copy into this particular ch, and this is the destination. This is the destination 0. Now here I want to store as a -1, so that it will try to store between this particular 0 to given length here. This is the void method. Okay. Now here after this, I want to print this particular ch here. Okay, I want to print this particular ch value. So let's observe here. I'm putting a breakpoint here. Now I will run this particular method. Now after running here you can see, after running he space is again space 9 colon 0, getting the point 0. After that some space years old. So this is, it is trying to print here. Here only we can see what exactly it is providing. What exactly it is providing here. Now if I'm trying to print this particular s here, okay, it is missed the last character. It is missed the last character. But now if you see here, what you understand is, I'm trying to print the ch. What is a ch now? Ch is a type called char array. Now where we, like how we are inserting this particular char array values here, using this particular method called getChars. Now what exactly the getChar is doing now? What exactly it's doing now? Based on this particular begin source and based on this particular begin destination, now it will copy all the string related stuff, and it will try to store into this particular destination array here. Okay, destination array. Now this is all about the simple important method called getChars. GetChars, exactly what exactly it will do. If we want to come up with a character array, now inside this particular character array, what we will do? Inside this particular character array, now what we are going to do, basically here we are going to copy the source element into the destination char. Now here it is trying to print here. This is coming from the first string message. Here you can see, here line number 7 we are printing. The line number 7, we are printing this particular value. Now here, the line number 11 also, now it is printing, but this value after copying into this particular char. If you see, all are going to be provided here. So H is a starting letter, now D is a ending letter. Now same thing, H is a starting letter and D is our ending letter. This is all about the important section we need to understand regarding this particular get chars method. This is also important here. Sometime we may need to call this particular get chars to copy the specified values. For example, here I am copying all the values, but I don't want to copy this all the values. Now I want to copy from 5th index onwards. I want to copy only 5th index onwards. Now if I am trying to run the same example one more time. Okay, now here you can see this is the S it is printing, but now this is the char. Now it started with a space, now it is ended with a D. It is ended with a D. But now why we are getting this particular /u/u? These are the empty values regarding this particular char. All the chars are not filled because what is the size we given? The size basically how much this particular length we are having. How much we are having this particular length here? 19. But 19 characters are not filled. Only few characters are filled. The remaining spaces we are trying to print as the empty character value. Now if you print this particular CH here, you will understand. Now this is the original message. After providing the specific destination, now it is copied from here. From this particular destination, it is going to copy this particular values here. So this is what we need to understand the get chars method. Based on our requirement, we can provide the position so that it will copy all the values. Okay. Now after this, what you need to understand here, get chars is a overloaded method. Get chars basically it is a overloaded method. Now if I'm going to call the same get chars, now here you can see okay, not get chars. Okay, get byte is a overloaded. Get chars is only one method we are having here. Now, so get byte is a overloaded method. Now, if you see, first byte method is expecting without parameter. Second byte method is expecting some char set name, and third byte set method is expecting char set here. Okay, we'll see how each and every method is going to work internally. Now, first method I'm trying to use get bytes here. Whenever I'm trying to use this particular get bytes, what happening internally? What happening basically internally? It will try to return as a. It will try to return as a all the byte related values. The given string now it will convert it into the integer. Okay, the given string now it will convert it into the integer. If you go to this particular byte, so here it is trying to print as a object reference here. But now what we can do, one by one, if you trying to print here, it will try to print as a number here. It is not going to print as a char here. Why it is not going to print as a char? Because here, whatever we are calling get bytes here, internally, it will convert all the string object into numbers here. So to understand this here, now I'm going to use for loop here. Now inside the for loop, byte is a data type. I'm going to use bytes here. Okay. Now, if you understand this, it will try to print one by one number. Now here you can see these are the numbers are printed. Now what you understand? The given string, it is converted into byte here. Given string, now it is converted into the byte format here. So again, I'm trying to run the same example so that it will print on the same line here. So these are the ASCII values. These are the ASCII values of each and every character. So H is started with the 72 because capital H it is, and small e 101 space. How much we are having? For this particular space, what is the value? 32. And again, here also we are having space 32. And here also we are having space 32. Okay. For all the spaces, the current ASCII value is 32 here. It will print this particular 32 here. This is what we need to understand regarding this particular get bytes here. Now get chars, what exactly it will do? Based on the positions here, like whatever the position of characters we want to copy, we can specify those position and we can copy here. Now another important section, get to bytes here. What exactly get bytes is doing here? Now this particular get to bytes here, this particular get bytes here, it will convert all the string information as a numbers here. So this particular purpose, basically we can go for this particular get to bytes here. Still any questions? Okay. Now, if you don't have anything, now what I will do, I am going to explain. We have a one more method, something like a 2-char array. 2-char array. What exactly this particular 2-char array it is going to do? Getting the point. So see the differences between get to bytes and 2-char array. The 2-char array, now again I'm trying to use this particular char here. Okay. Now observe carefully here what you need to understand here. Okay, CH already defined here. CH1 I'm trying to print. Okay. Get bytes, it is trying to return as a numbers. Now this particular get 2-chars, this 2-chars array, now it will try to return as a each and every character. Each and every character. Now let me print in the single line here. Okay. Let me print in the single line here. Now here you can see he is 9 years old. But here if you see, in each and every character we are having the space here. H, between H we are having the space, and between these we are having two spaces. One is coming from the string and one is V given from this particular print method. Now same thing is happening here 9.0 and years and old. What you understand here, whenever we are calling the 2-char array internally, it is converting all the character types. Okay. Whenever we are calling this particular get bytes, internally it is converting all the string information as a numbers here. Okay. So based on our requirement, now we can go for this particular 2-char array or byte related sections here. Okay. This is also important here. Sometimes we are going to use this particular 2-char array to check some character, given the character is existed, or how many characters we are having. So what are those characters? Now how we can modify the characters. To do this, we can go for this particular 2-char array, so that after converting, we can run this particular section of code here. Okay. So this is what we need to understand here. Now, another important methods called comparisons. Comparisons. So what are the comparison related methods? Getting the point. This is important section here. What exactly the comparison methods are going to be provided here. To understand this particular comparison, here we are having equals and equals ignore case here. Equals and equal ignore case here. We'll see the first equals method. So s dot equals method. Now what exactly this equals method is doing? It is expecting the one parameter. The parameter type should be string here. But this equals method is coming from where? This equals method which is coming from again under this particular object class. So do we have object class? Now we don't have. Let me go for the object class. Now we'll see how this toString is implemented here. Sorry, not toString, equals method. Now here you can see this is an object class. Now get class we are having hash code. Now here you can see toString method. Now what exactly, sorry, we are having equals method. What exactly we are doing here? We are passing an object as a parameter. Now we are checking if the current object is matched with whatever the parameter we provided, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. So this is what we need to understand regarding this particular equals method. This equals to object. What exactly it is doing here? It is trying to checking the both objects here. If the both objects are same, it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false here. Now go back to here. What we can do? Now coming back to here, string related equals method. See carefully. Now first step we are checking here. If this current object is equals with method parameter. Now we are returning true. Otherwise, if this particular condition is not satisfied, now we are checking instance of keyword. Basically what it will do, whatever the parameter we provided, if the parameter is type having string, now we are converting into the string method. Now we are checking, like we are calling the coder method. If the coder is equals to say parameter coder. Now from where this coder is calling, whenever you're trying to return, now here you can see it, if it is a compact string, the coder will return. Otherwise, this is a UTF-16. This is the another format we are going to use in the string class to convert the value. The first one is the original string and another one is UTF format. So UTF basically it is again coming from the hash key related. Based on this particular format, we are having different values here. Okay, this is what we need to understand. Now in our case, this particular compact string is going to match because the static block is going to load the compact string related stuff here. Now once it is returning this particular coder, now this coder is going to be matched here. If it is matching, now again we are checking whether it is a Latin format, or if it is, then it is calling this method. Otherwise, it will go for this particular UTF format. So using this particular section, it is returning as a true or false here, whether the given object is true or false here. Okay, this is the equals method. Basically, it will compare with the current object. Whatever the object parameter we are providing, the particular object parameter, it is going to compare with the original object. Now currently, now I'm going to give as a E is. Currently, I'm going to give as a E is. Now let me print this particular equals method. Okay. So here I'm going to put a breakpoint so that we can understand whether this particular thing is calling equals method or not. Now here you can see equals method is calling. From where this particular equals method is calling. Now if you want to see, okay, this is a different equals method. As of now, it does not come to our code here. So right now I will remove this. Now it is calling here. Now I can put a breakpoint one more time. Now click on this F8 here. Now here you can see what is invoking here. Okay, invoke is also different format here. So this method is calling from the different locations. Here, now I'm going to call now because this equals method is calling from the multiple locations here. Now here you can see E is. Get in the pen. Now here you can see what is the original object. This keyword will give you the original object. So E is a 9.0 years old. This is the original object. But whatever the parameter we passed here. the parameter we passed as a h like is. Okay, so because of this, both objects are not same. Both objects not same. Now what is doing here? Coming back to here. So parameter, whatever we provided, it is a instance of string. Now the parameter type is a string. Yes, parameters type is string. Now what we are doing here? Here, converting into string. So after conversion, what is the value? Same thing. Whatever we provided, it will come as the same. After this, now I'm checking this coder. Now I'm trying to check this particular coder. Now first evaluate like what exactly this coder will do. So it is trying to return as a true. Why it is trying to return as a true? Because inside this particular two strings here, we are having same coder here. We are having same coder value. Because of this, now it is trying to return as a true value here. Okay. After this, what is doing here? After this, what is doing here? It is trying to do this particular, whether it is a Latin or UTF format. Now here you can see, now this is satisfied here. I want to put a breakpoint here also so that we can identify. Now it is checking here. This is something like returning true or false. It is trying to return as a true. Okay. Now this is what this equals method is going to call, because this one it is returning true, because here we are using the ternary operator. The ternary operator, if it is returning true, after the question mark, whatever the code we write, those code is going to execute. And if this particular, before the ternary operator, like before the question mark, if it is returning false, now after the colon, whatever the code we are going to write, so those code is going to execute here. But in our case, this condition is satisfied. So this particular method, whatever I'm highlighting, it is going to execute here. So this is all about the toString method, which is implemented under this particular string class. Now what's saying here? Here you can see false. What is saying here? It is trying to return as a false. Why it is returning false? Because both objects are not same. Both objects are not same here. Now I'm going to modify the whatever we given here. Okay. Now here you can see, again I'm trying to run the same example. Again I'm trying to run this particular same example. Now if you observe, now I'll put a breakpoint here one more time so that we can check whether this particular toString is matching or not. If you see, this equals to parameterized object here. Okay, still it is returning as a false. Why it is returning as a false? This current object, so he is a 9 years old here. But what happening here? Now if you see, this is also same here. He is a 9 years old only. Okay. Now any space? Now there is no space. Everything is same because we copy from the main location. Okay. Because why it is different here? Here this object reference is different. This object reference is different. Because of this, now both objects are not same. Even though objects are same, but because of the object creation, locations are different here. Object creation locations are different here. Because of this, now this condition is failing. The first if condition. Now it is coming back to the second one. So it is by default instance of string only, because we provided the string values only. Now we are checking the converting string object. Now we are calling the coder. Coder will be same here because now we are in the same current object. Now Latin is true. Now we are trying to return as the string Latin dot equals method will call and it will return true. Now if you see, finally we are trying to get as a true value. This is what we need to understand here. Okay, so equals method in the string class, it will checking lot of conditions here. First one is both objects are same or not is checking. Later we are converting into string object, and after that we are converting, like we are checking the coder value. Now after that we are checking Latin format. Now if the Latin format is success, now we are calling the proper Latin related section. Otherwise it will go for the UTF related sections here. So this is what we need to understand This is what we need to understand the important section called equals method. Okay. Still any questions? Okay. If you don't have anything, now I'm stopping the session up to here. Tomorrow we'll continue the another important section called, we have some region match related concepts. We'll identify how this region match is going to work, and after that we'll try to discuss about the start with end with some additional methods here. Okay. So these are about the important section we discuss in the today's session. So string is one of the important class, because in the day-to-day development also we are going to use this particular string more. So try to practice with the multiple example so that you'll get more understanding about the string classes here. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow.